We're joined this afternoon by men's soccer head coach Steve Babineau in our annual season review interview. Coach, thanks for joining us today. In 2012, your Monks went 10-7-2 overall and 6-3-1 in conference play. Another appearance in a GNAC tournament, following up a year in which you'd won your second conference crown in 3 years. Just kind of talk about what the expectations were going into last season.
Yeah, well, the expectations were quite high. I mean, coming off a GNAC championship and returned most of that group, the bar was set just as high, and that's what we were trying to achieve this past year. And we knew that we had a big target going into the season, just because we were the defending champs. So, we knew that every game was going to be a battle, and it turned into, I guess, what you call an up and down season. And we didn't achieve the goal that we wanted to, but we definitely did some good things this past year.
Now, to jump right to the end of the season, a late push earned the Monks the number 3 seed and a chance to host in the first round, facing number 6 Emerson College. Unfortunate early exit, a 3-0 loss at the hands of the Lions. Let's kind of talk about that last game of the year. I know it's a home game, so that's always big. And the reigning GNAC champs going into that contest had to feel pretty confident, and it didn't turn out in your favor.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it right there by feeling confident, and whether that be overconfident going into that match. I don't want to take anything away from Emerson. Credit's due to them. They beat us in every aspect of the game, and it's not that we weren't ready, but I don't know that we had the best sessions leading up to that. And I would even say, coming off that big win against LaSalle College, beating the number 1 seed that comes in 9-0, you kind of get that big game, hangover, if you will, and I think we were all just in shock and how quickly Emerson jumped all over us. We were unable to adjust quickly, and before you knew it, we were down 3-0 and couldn't dig ourselves out. I think the funny thing is we sit here in the middle of April now, in the middle of our spring season, and that still stings. And that's been the motivation of how quickly a team can put you down. You can't dig yourself out, and you can exit a playoff just as quick. So I think that's kind of got the motivation going all year. And last year is last year, but we're not going to forget that and make sure they're going to be ready for this upcoming year.
And you mentioned you had plenty of returning players, but there were also some new faces that stepped to the forefront. In goal, you had some guys play big roles in the midfield, new guys. Let's kind of talk about their contribution.
Yeah, the goalkeeping competition was great since day one in August, and of course we had the returning goalkeeper of Kenny Grade, who was a big part of that championship year, and the newcomer with Scott Benner out of Idaho, and didn't know a lot about him, but was able to come in and push Kenny and compete, and as the season wore on, as you can see through box scores, and Scott tended to win the job and could keep playing at a high level, and he contributed right away, and that was a good thing for him, I think. The other guys came in, and I would say that those new guys that played right away, they had an up and down season too. They came in and played right away, and then the adjustment to the college game, I think, caught up with them a little bit from high school to college, and they started to struggle a little bit, so we had to move some other guys around and some veterans, which kind of led to a little bit of inconsistency, but we're able to kind of work through it and rattle off that 6-game winning streak going into the playoffs.
And that's my very next question, actually. Your team was 4-6-2, I believe, after a loss to a tough Bowdoin team in early October. The outlook was kind of bleak right there. I'm sure the troops were a little down, thinking the season was going to be another great one. Bowdoin always a tough matchup, but your side rattled off 6 straight wins, including 4 conference victories. Just kind of talk about what transpired there. How did that come to be? Did things suddenly click? Were there lineup changes? Were there some changes in the style of play? What would you say changed?
Yeah, we actually made a change in the style of play, and I think after the Bowdoin loss, which is always a difficult out-of-conference game. I mean, the NESCAC school, but that's why we schedule them, because that's the measuring stick there. And we have the ability to eventually play at that level, we hope. But after that, we kind of collectively got together and said, look, we really need to figure this thing out. What's working and what's not working. And we were finding that, after we returned all the guys and we kind of got some consistent guys in there, that we were stalling in our attack in the final third, and we had to switch to a 4-3-3 and play a little bit more direct. And we kind of jokingly said, let's stop losing pretty and try to win ugly. And so we go down to Norwich, and that's always a tough place to play. And we go into that 4-3-3, and the credits to the guys, because they bought right into it. And they were the ones that did the work every day, and the coaching staff gave them the suggestions and the ideas of how to play in that system, and they stuck with it, and they grinded these wins out. And by no means was any of them a walk in the park. And we just knew that there was two roads you could take. That we can go up and finish higher in the conference and get the home playoff game, or we can just kind of keep going through the motions, if you will, and see how this thing turns out. And now I'm real proud of that, because they showed that they could get through anything in front of them, adversity. And that's something that we take away from the season, even though we exited early, was the ability to change things and everybody just rally around each other and rattle off 6 wins.
And looking ahead, I know you mentioned you're in the middle of your spring season here. You mentioned earlier today in a conversation 12 seniors coming up this fall. I don't know that any team here has had 12 seniors leave a program in one season. Must be a tremendous amount of leadership there, guys that know your style of coaching and the things that you try to accomplish. How does that affect a practice? Indoor season I know is a little different, but in a non-traditional season. But what do you have to say about 12 seniors next year?
Well, I think 10 of those seniors are technically my first active recruiting class, and we're going to inherit a couple of transfers that just happen to be seniors. But so we add them in the mix, and to answer the question, how does that really work in a training session? It's a little bit easier because those guys can lead by example. They understand how I coach. They understand how I communicate. But they're also old enough to understand that if we need to make more changes, I know that they can handle that. And their soccer IQ is high enough to understand it. And and that's what we're doing this spring, is changing guys around and trying a couple different things to really fix some of the problems that we think that we saw in the fall. And it's a great group to work with, not only the whole team, but the senior class. I have guys constantly coming into the office, and we're talking tactics and we're talking soccer, and we're always trying to work together to make it better. And if there's a freshman or a sophomore that's just still in question, and we let the seniors kind of show them the ropes still, even though they're in their first year if they're a freshman. And from there we just all kind of work together. It's a pretty special group, and we've got a lot to figure out this spring, and hopefully we'll get it sorted out by August.
Now we definitely should mention the 2 departed seniors from your program, Teddy Palmer and Alex Day. Neither one played all 4 years here, but both had a big contribution last fall. And Teddy, a 2-time all-conference player, kind of mentioned what they meant to the program.
Well, that's why we're shuffling guys around this spring and trying to figure out some things, because we don't play the spring season with those graduating seniors. They're 2 big holes, if you will, that we need to fill. And Teddy in the midfield, was that player that we leaned on. And yeah, he wasn't here for 4 years, but as soon as he stepped on campus, he was making an impact on the soccer field, I think in the classroom and with his friends and his social life. And really both of those guys, Teddy and Alex, the personality in the locker room, that's tough to replace. Anytime that there was adversity or coach was upset or something wasn't going our way, they definitely would kind of lighten the mood, if you will, and get the guys refocused. But getting back to Teddy, his play is going to be tough to replace. I mean, he really just was the heart and soul of what we did through our midfield. He bunkered everything down, he collected, he won every head ball, and he's going to be sorely missed. And you have Alex, who comes off the bench and then actually wins a starting spot halfway through, and the end of the season is now contributing more consistently for us as a forward. Very dangerous, can shoot from anywhere, And there's two big players that you have to replace, and they're going to be missed. And he didn't play in the 4 years either, but had a big impact on the program and on the current players that we'll have here to work with the rest of this year and going into next year.
I want to put you on the spot here a little bit. We didn't discuss this, but I want you to tell me, in your mind, what you feel was the biggest or perhaps most unexpected victory last fall. Something that was kind of like, wow, that was a big win for us, or maybe the guys showed you something you didn't know they had.
Yeah, I'd probably answer that. The biggest loss. I wouldn't expect that we'd be knocked out in the first round, but
yeah.
The one that comes to mind is the big win against LaSalle College.
Yeah.
But you've got to expect you're going to be ready for that. It's your last home game. It's the #1 team coming in. I would then say probably Norwich at Norwich University. I mean,
Overtime, correct?
Overtime,
yeah.
And I think the first one was an own goal. Yeah. And anytime that you beat Norwich, who's always good every single year, is a big win, no matter what the circumstances and records. And
a rematch of the conference championship.
A year prior to, right? Yeah. And you've got to go there, and you've got to play in that environment where it's very difficult. And I swear, every time that we go there, it's friends and family weekend, and they're popping the cannon off, and there's all those distractions, and it's just a tough place to play. And it was a battle. It could have gone either way, and we were able to kind of squeak that out. And I think the guys showed me there that was the turning point of the season. And no matter what we put in front of them, they would just kind of get in the pit and have that dogfight, and that was all that game was they just grinded that out. So I knew that they had the toughness in them. I know they had the work ethic in them, but they really just kind of showed at that Norwich game, and I think that's what led to going back to that winning streak.
That's what started the winning streak, as you know. Now, aside from the Emerson setback at the end of the season, what was the loss that kind of stays on your mind from the season?
Well, I think the loss that really kind of threw big adversity our way was that first loss against Johnson and Wales in the conference, and it's at home. Mm-hmm. You open up as defending champs at home. Johnson and Wales takes on a new coach, and they come in and they're vastly improved, and they were the better team that day. And we were ready for them, and Johnson and Wales just come out and they beat us. And I think in overtime, I don't know if that was our first game,
in front of me,
but I know we had a goal called back there, and that's a tough pill to swallow there. Anytime you drop a conference opener, and it's at home, and you didn't expect to do that because of those circumstances. You're at home, you're the defending champs, and you have a big time team coming in, and you're going to be ready. So, but that's the way soccer is. It's funny how things work out. So we were able to turn it around.
All right, Coach. Anything else you want to go over? You want to talk about your new TV in the office? Or
no, I think hopefully it'll be utilized a bit more this year with game film and breaking film down, so the guys can kind of maybe see what I'm talking about.
And we do want to mention that you are 1 win away from tying the coaching wins record here at St. Joseph's. I'm not sure that many realize that. Only in your 5th year, Bob Bourget accumulated 45 wins in 6 years. What do you think of that, Mark? Of that, 1 more win?
Well, I think that just goes to show you where the program is at, and I think the credits to the guys. I mean, I've been very, very fortunate to come here in 2009 and have a program that was on the up, and the ability to have the support from the athletic department and admissions to get these types of players in here to compete at a high level to collect those wins. So I just feel very fortunate to be in that situation. I think it's great. I think personally for me, hopefully we can achieve it this year. It's going to be a huge honor, but it's the guys that go out there and play the game. It's the guys that go out there and do the work and believe in what we're doing, and those guys deserve more of the credit really than I do. So
humble as always, Coach Babineau. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the spring season, and good luck next fall.
All right, thanks, Corey.